Rick and Morty Season 6, Episode 10, Rictional Mortpoon's Rickmas Mortcation. As far as season finales go, wasn't my favorite. As far as episodes go, wasn't my favorite. But let's get into it. So the episode starts as a Christmas episode. Rick is giving everybody presents. He gives Morty a lightsaber. Yeah, that's when everything starts going downhill. But I mean, if Rick's your grandfather, I would think you would have asked for a lightsaber way before, but that's just me. So Rick gives him this lightsaber. Morty goes into the garage with him. He's playing with it. Morty drops the lightsaber straight down vertically so that it's piercing through everything, going straight to the Earth's core. That's not a good thing. So Rick and Morty work to try and get the lightsaber back before it reaches the Earth's core. In the process of doing so, you get to see more of Rick's lab. We've seen some layers before, right underneath the garage, but this is the first kind of more in-depth one that we've ever seen, at least how many layers we've seen. So they go down a few layers, they have to get into an elevator to try and chase it down, all while Morty is trying to go to the basement 10th floor, and Rick is trying to avoid going to the basement 10th floor, because when they go to the basement 10th floor, we find the real Rick there, because apparently Rick swapped himself out with a robot version of himself in last week's episode. So the Rick that we knew in last week's episode, who was being so nice and courteous to Morty, turns out to have been a robot Rick. The president of the United States shows up and he's like, hey, what's going on? We're seeing that there's a lightsaber carving through the Earth, and if it hits the core, the whole world's gonna blow up. After Morty just discovered that Rick is a robot, now he has to try and stop a lightsaber from blowing up the Earth, so he has to work with the president to try and find a way so that they can get to the lightsaber before it hits the core and before it blows up. So Morty just breaks down. This is a lot going on for him, and on top of it, the president was ragging on him for even liking Star Wars. So Morty and the president team up with a big drill to drill down into the Earth faster than the lightsaber can fall. Rick says it's not going to work because it can't go fast enough. Rick has his own lightsaber that just goes down straight vertically to try and catch the lightsaber that is falling vertically so it can destroy it. Rick upsets the lightsaber because of course it has AI for some reason. It turns itself off and then goes to Italy and kills a bunch of people. So Rick reluctantly and begrudgingly fixes the drill machine, makes it fast enough so that it can go down and it can stop and get the lightsaber. Rick offers to go with Morty, and Morty is like, no, I'm not gonna go with you because I just found out you're a robot, or at least you were a robot. I don't really know why he's so upset at that, especially because he was only a robot for one episode. It's not like he was like, I was a robot for the entire season. He was just a robot for that one episode. So Morty goes with the president. The president and Morty are able to catch the lightsaber before it hits the core of the Earth, blowing it up. The president betrays Morty because he wants the lightsaber. Of course, who wouldn't want the lightsaber? The president then goes back to the White House and is playing with the lightsaber, drops the lightsaber in the exact same manner so that it's about to destroy the world again. Rickbot has it revealed that he's a robot. The family destroys him for some reason. I guess it's a call out to some movie or some show. I don't know. I haven't seen it. They bring Rickbot back to life to stop this lightsaber again. They're able to stop the lightsaber, but in that time, the president has flown the White House into space to avoid the destruction of the Earth. Morty, Rickbot, the president fight it out. Rick rescues them in the end with a portal. They all fall back. Rickbot dies. Rickbot says, I know you're upset at Rick, but everything he programmed me to do is something that Rick would do, so it's kind of like Rick doing it in the first place. So Rick, since the last episode, has been in the basement, level 10, searching for Prime Rick. The only thing he didn't do was he didn't include Morty in his search. The last episode, episode 9, when he takes the sword, that's when he said he switched, because he felt like Morty betrayed him because he asked him just not to take the sword and he did it, and then he called him boring. So he feels like in Morty's eyes he has lost his position because he's become nicer and softer and more open with him, which because Morty knows that, because Morty has experienced experienced it. That's why I don't understand why Morty got so upset when he found out Rick switched himself with a Robo-Rick, because he still has changed. He's still a different person, and I understand he did this, but you could look at it from the lens of he did this so that he doesn't get you involved in this search for Rick Prime, who clearly doesn't care who he kills, including this Morty that this Rick has fallen in love with, right? He loves him. He's his grandson. He may not say it, even though he did say it this season. I guess this Morty doesn't remember that because that was in Roy. Regardless, this episode was, I don't want to say it was weird. It's just with some of the things that characters have said, some of the callouts, some of the things towards Star Wars in specific that they were said, I don't think had anything to do with Star Wars. I think they were more about the fan base of Rick and Morty. To me, kind of felt, I don't know, there were some things in this episode that kind of felt like, man, y'all are attacking your fans because we're not, at least some of us, aren't crazy in love with at least how this season has played out, the direction it's taken, the direction some of the stories have gone and some of the characters have gone. I've enjoyed the direction the characters have gone. Some of the stories have been iffy, and as far as the finale goes, it, in my opinion, it's just been following the trend of really the second half of this season, which is kind of a disappointing trend. But regardless, this season ends with Rick saying, season 7, my objective, the story is going to be get Rick Prime, right? That's going to be the whole part of the season, which obviously I'm interpreting as a lie. I don't think that's going to be the entirety of season 7. Maybe in small part, maybe episode 1 again, maybe episode 10 of that finale. As far as this season went though, and as far as this episode went, the episode was average, and I think the season was average also. But I don't think the season was average because each episode was average. I think we've gotten some pretty good episodes this season. It's just towards the back half that things to me have been a real letdown in how the season has progressed. The story and the development of Rick was overshadowed to me by the stupidity of Pissmaster. And yet we see basically the same Rick that we saw in what was now Robo-Rick in the Sun episode, which again was overshadowed by him saying that he was a robot. All in all, I don't think it was a terrible season. I don't think it was a terrible episode. As far as finales go, it was disappointing, especially when they made the reveal that Rick has been in the basement looking for Rick Prime and the story went nowhere with it. Season 7, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they actually go for that. I think that is the direction that I would like to see it go in, mostly because of the character development that was made in this season. I think season 6 character development of the characters really justify going forward after Rick Prime and after a more linear sort of storyline. Will they do that? I don't know. I'm not asking for an entire season that is completely linear. It can be episodic, it can be linear, it can be plot driven. I just think moving forward into season 7, I'm hopeful with where it may go. Either way, and all in all, if you liked the episode, if you didn't like the episode, if you're looking forward to next season, like and subscribe to the channel, check out the podcast, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and other than that, I will see all of you in the next one.